G'day, welcome to the show. I'm Osher Ginsberg. This is Better Than Yesterday. When Australia's favourite parenting expert, the incredible Maggie Dent, came here for the podcast, she dropped so much wisdom on me. And today I've got 4 immediately actionable ways you can find support, ditch the myth of perfection, and maybe even start to enjoy parenting. The full episode has got so much more, but these are the ones that really stood out for me, starting with the idea that we're supposed to do this whole parenting thing alone. This has got to be one of the biggest, most exhausting lies that we tell ourselves about parenting. It's just not the way that human beings are wired to raise children. You've obviously heard the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. But this is where Maggie makes a really good point. The concept of this child-raising village is practically impossible in our modern life. So how do we access that backup, that safety net, that thing that every family needs to thrive in a world that's becoming increasingly isolated? Maggie reckons the answer isn't a village at all.
That village concept, of course, is fundamentally still important to us in terms of you're far more at risk if it's just a very small group compared to big. My message to parents is find the tribe rather than the village. It's impossible to find the village except if you live in country towns where everyone knows what's going on anyway and they'll tell you what you're doing because you don't know yourself.
Yeah, flip the car in a paddock.
Right, yeah.
Oh, limpy.
Yeah, that's it, like that, right? So a tribe means it's a smaller group, but what it is the humans who are in your life around your children. So whether it's the people with kids the same age, the teachers within your school environment who really are on the same page, is that we actually consciously need to create a sense of connectedness because our kids need to feel safe with some other people other than us. And I challenge parents quite often, if your car breaks down on the way to pick your kids up, who can you call? Who you know can walk up to the school because they're going to be there because you know they're going to be there. That's the first thing, you'd know they're going to be there. 2, the school knows that they are the safe person that you get on with and they're going to pick up your kids. How many of you have got that?
Wow.
Right? That's the stuff that matters. And also, when we went through COVID, it was really how we were all kept away from each other, how fundamentally that did everyone's heads in, right? So the second part to that is, we are a social species. We're not a me species. What is online is very much a focus of me. So do anything you can that encourages the we in your family. It's us as a system. It's us as a tribe.
It's so good to be reminded that we have to deliberately create and maintain that safety net. It doesn't just appear. And when Maggie told me that, straight away I could see where are the gaps in our backup. I got right on it. It didn't take long just to chat with my wife that night about who might be able to step in. Just doing that was so powerful. So I'd invite you right now, pause this. Ask yourself the same question. Don't wait for your tribe to magically show up in an emergency. You kind of got to go and find them and nurture those people in your tribe. They're your airbag of humans to protect you from the car crash of life. Unfortunately, they might not be able to get there in time when it's you that's losing it. Because we've all done it. I did it just the other morning. You're tired, you're running late, they're being loose, and you have that shouty moment. You pull out the wrong tone of voice, just a bit too much, and the next second, this beautiful child, this child for which you have more love than you've ever known, is crying with tears streaming down their face and snot bubbles, doing the and you're the reason for it. And then there's the crushing guilt. And then there's, this is clearly evidence that I am the world's worst parent. It's not great when that happens, but it's only the worst if we're comparing ourselves to some imaginary, perfect Pinterest kind of parenting. But what if the key to being a great parent isn't about the pursuit of perfection? What if it's something far simpler and far more immediately available, even after you make a mistake?
So whoever you're co-parenting with, it's hard. Parenting's really hard. I don't think we'd breed if we knew how hard it was going to be, really. I think we'd just go, no thanks, I'm out of here. That whoever you're co-parenting with, have a really honest conversation, not only about sharing the to-do list, but what is it that you need to do for at least twice a week for an hour and a half that fills your cup, and prioritize that. Make sure either of you just works out how can we fit that in for each of us as the grown-ups, because unless we've got a full cup or a half-filled cup, we can't pour into the little ones in our house and everything's not going to work as well. And every now and then just keep recognizing that there is no such thing as perfection in parenting, and that every age, every stage will have a gift and a challenge, and that just beating yourself up because you've had the shouty moment, you've lost something, or like me, left one at the pool, you're not a lousy parent. You're a parent just doing the best you can, right? You just get back up, focus on connection, and get back up the next day, let yourself off the hook and have another crack.
I felt a lot of relief when Maggie said that your child doesn't need a perfect parent, they need a connected one. You're not a terrible parent for having a bad moment. You are a human being doing the best they can with the tools they've got. But the willingness to focus on that connection and giving it another go, that's parenting. None of us own a time machine to undo the mistake, but we can take action in those moments to repair the rupture, and connection is where it starts. That and keeping a cup full. Now, I don't mean suddenly taking up cycling and or golf so you can leave your family for a full day every weekend. I'm off to fill my cup, honey. No. You heard what she said, twice a week. Look at your screen time. Scrolling doesn't count as filling a cup, but it clearly shows you, oh yeah, you've got the time. Because when we're running on empty, a part of the way that our brains try to protect us is by highlighting the things which can be seen as threats. And that's why when we're ragged, we only see the shitty stuff, the mess, the tantrums, the things that aren't the way we want them to be, the things that went wrong. Not only do we forget the good stuff, sometimes even the good stuff can appear to us as bad stuff. So when we're in it, and we all have been in it, or we're gonna be in it, how do we make sure that our kids grow up with a brain that's anchored to happy, joyful memories and not just the stuff that we get cranky about?
What we can do when we're tired and there's a lot of pressure on us is we just focus on all this shit stuff. We keep forgetting to focus on the good bits. So whether it's, the movie night with popcorn and farts on the couch, or we're cooking pancakes together, or we've just been to the beach and had the best time. I think we just got to create those, I call it pockets of joy in homes that we repeat often, because what your kids remember are the repeated pockets of joy, not the crap, right? The more we can create that, the more the brain has a capacity to anchor those memories. Yeah. And sometimes we just need to lighten up a heck of a lot more, because seriously, it's more funny than it's awful. And it releases cortisol at the same pace as screaming or crying. I just go for laughing.
Hearing Maggie tell me that we've got to lighten up a heck of a lot, well, that was good to hear as well, because things don't always happen the way you want them to happen. Look, you may as well remember about how you laughed about it as you were sorting it out and fixing things, rather than how angry you got. But what happens as these kids get older, especially with boys, when you're the size of an adult but with a child-sized decision-making system between your ears? Just the other night, I ran into a pack of these guys down the street. They were a sports team all getting pizza, 12 or 13 years old. Some of them enormous, bigger than me. All of them super excited, none of them with an off switch. And it was easy to demonize teenage boys. I know, I used to be one. So I just wanted to share you this one part where Maggie explains the science behind teenage behaviour. I love it because it really demonstrates how we as parents, and maybe people who support them like educators or, your grown-up friends who they call uncle, but they're not their uncle, how people in their lives, adults in their lives, can support these kids during this phase of them growing up.
Frustration tolerance, and boredom tolerance, all of these sorts of things that we're really trying to avoid because we want to be these super awesome parents.
Yeah.
Isn't it sad that we've kind of like made it an impossible job? Because usually when you're doing those things, you're also overcompensating for something else in that space. Can I throw in one more thing that happens in the teenage years that I think parents need to know, and that is that their limbic brain, which is kind of in the hippocampus, down there, that central part, it's growing, right? That's where the amygdala is. That's your threat center. So that's more fiery than usual. And in boys, it's way larger.
That's a really ancient bit of the brain.
Really big
Very
sense.
lizardy.
Always looking at something could be potentially dangerous.
Very little emotion, if any, involved in that.
Right?
It's
It's
very
spontaneous.
reactionary,
It's the threat. Is this a threat to my chance of survival? And then The second part is in adolescence, all of the limbic brain fires up. So everything gets more intense, and it gets really intense without the prefrontal lobe growing enough to be able to rationalize it. So that's why you can have massive outbursts, and there's a lot of door slamming, right? And, if you've got boys, again, they'll kick stuff. Or I had one boy come in to my English class, and 10 minutes in, just stood up and kicked the chair, kicked the desk, and then walked over to the wall and punched his fist into a brick wall, and then went out the room. And all the kids were looking at me, and I went, I don't know. Did you know? No, they had no idea. And I got him a drink of water and sat next to him outside. And I said, what happened? And he said, failed my maths test. He used a few F-bombs in there, but I won't drop them out. And I went,
Well, thank you for deciding to not swear, considering how blue you were from the moment I met you at my front door.
I can have
Don't
restraint.
pretend for a second that you don't talk like a Stephen or Dent.
I do. But what happened was, so he is brewed on his failure.
Yeah, right.
20 minutes. And I talk about the tipping point in teens. We've all got one, but we have the capacity once that prefrontal grows that we go, man, I'm really pissed off about this, or I'm really stressed. I'm going to go and make myself a cuppa and eat a few Tim Tams. Or you would probably go and do some downward dogs and some deep breathing, which is
mostly
so
the breathing, because I don't have to move too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we already have worked strategies of what to do when our body's giving us those messages. Teens haven't. So the last thing that flips them can be sometimes really quite small, like misreading somebody's, someone rolls their eyes.
The famous, what you looking at?
Yeah, what you're looking at. That stuff, right?
The famous last words.
It can be, right? So you can imagine being shamed by somebody, or someone making a smart-ass joke that you don't get.
Yeah.
You want to punch their head in, right? So for that beautiful boy, when we brought him back in the class, and normally probably the school's expectations, what I should have sent him to the deputy to be disciplined. And in my world, I felt that's not going to help anyone. When we got back in the class, all his mates and the kids had put all his stuff back up. And that's where I felt there was this compassion for understanding.
It's incredible the depth of experience that Maggie Dent has to draw on when she's trying to explain things to you, and such a glorious example of compassion and empathy in seeing the difference between helping a young man figure out how to handle frustrations and disciplining him without helping him learn at all what to do in those moments. Just by understanding that the way a young man's brain works, that can go a long way to helping us manage a situation better, or help us be the person that helps that young man use a moment that might otherwise go sideways, help him use it to maybe figure things out so that things don't happen like this again. What I shared with you today is just the tiniest taste of the wisdom that Maggie dropped on me the day she visited. I'd love to know which ones you really needed to hear today. Let me know when you leave a rating or a comment wherever you've heard this or seen this. I'll pop a link in the notes for the full episode, as well as links to Maggie's other work. She is one of Australia's most successful self-published authors for good reason, an absolute deity when it comes to parenting and childhood development. All of it that is anchored in research. She's incredible. I adore her. If this is your first time here, please like, subscribe, follow. There's new episodes coming every week, twice a week. Most importantly, the best thing you can do for us, tell a friend, share this, share it to somebody. Thanks for being a part of it. I'll see you Wednesday.